Good evening, folks. Good evening. So back with another trade breakdown. It's been quite a while since I've done a YouTube video. Basically, this mic, you'll not believe it, but this mic, I've had some issues with it. More so me just being stupid. But yeah, I've just been trying to play around with the settings and OBS and stuff just to kind of get it to sound correct because usually when I load up OBS and stuff, it does sound like there's quite a lot of like white noise. And I've just been playing around with a few settings, a few filters and stuff just to try and get that right because as you've probably known, watched my previous videos, either at the start, the middle, or the end, you'll just hear like a white noise in the background that'll like come on and off. And I've never really found out the reason for that until this evening. But I think it's just to do with the sort of volume of my mic and the output, along with a few other things. So, um, that's why there hasn't been any weekly outlooks from myself. And I think my last trade taken was over a week ago. Yeah, over a week ago. So today's might be my first trade in a while. Um, and I'm just kind of going to get straight into it. So the session, coming to the session today, I'm in the replay tool and I've brought it back to 6 a.m. Um, this is what I'm looking at this morning. Now, previous to 4 hours are bearish, so I'm looking for sells. Now I understand where we are. We're at basically a 4 hour support zone. We're at a previous 4 hour support. We're at a previous 4 hour support across the board. So this area in general isn't really the best area to look for trades into the downside really. What I do like, however, is that we are below the daily resistance. And my idea when I came to the chart this morning was to basically potentially fill this 4 hour wick. And if I just drop down to um the 30-minute chart, let me just drop the 15-second. Yes, drop to the 30-minute chart. I came to the chart this morning for like 7 a.m. right? About quarter to 7, 7 o'clock. And as soon as I seen this, um, I was kind of interested to see if we could push down to here, right? I know we're in a bit of a tricky zone, but what I was thinking of was, well, Monday we had volume at 7 a.m. Tuesday we had volume kicking from 7:10. And what I was thinking of today was, could price replicate what it done yesterday today, right? If volume is going to come in, we should break down. We should have no issues getting past these levels, right? However, the only difference to today to yesterday is if I just, this is the 6 to 6:30 candle, so I don't trade this candle. So if I skip through one more 30-minute candle, this is basically how the 1 hour closed. So if I go to the 1 hour chart, the difference between today and yesterday is that we had the 6 to 7 o'clock candle close below this support, and below these 4 hour support levels, and that is a nice candle, right? Whereas the already close from 6 to 7 today is basically like a rejection candle. There isn't any sort of volume at the minute. There's no, you know, strong suggestion that price is going to continue down. So that is the difference today. Now, when I came to the chart, what I was planning was, if I just mark up my Asian range, most recent support and resistance prior to 6 a.m. textbook, this is my Asian range. So what I kind of liked at this point was price had pushed down, we had pulled back, rejected off this 4 hour support and closed below, right? This candle's then pulled back in, rejected the resistance, and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to get involved in this was to see when this low's broken, take a sell, and basically fill this 4 hour wick, and my stop loss would have went above. This was in anticipation of like volume. This was in anticipation of kind of replicating the sort of price pattern which I seen here, basically here. Now, again, we've got that difference of how the 1 hour closed yesterday compared to today. There's more confirmation yesterday compared to today. So I was waiting and I was waiting and it never came through. We can see that we never broke the low. And if I just go to the 4 hour chart a second, I have this 4 hour support on here, but let me just check where that came from. I think that might just be a incorrect. Oh no, it wasn't. It wasn't a 4 hour support. It was a 30-minute support. Let me just change this. Because this is basically what I was looking at here. We sort of have this support zone which we have pulled down here, rejected off, pulled down here, rejected off when we broke above, come back down, reject up, and that's basically where we are. So we've kind of just basically formed a support, buying on this support, right? So when this happened, and when I plotted this line here after this, when this candle was sort of closed and forming, right? So when I seen this, I said to myself, well, do you know what's probably better? Rather than take a break here, is wait for a solid close below, wait for a target, and then price can pull back in and we can target the target, right? Because like even though the session bias is bearish, like that sort of continuation trade is solely based on like volume, and it makes more sense to wait for a close if volume isn't there, right? So as price started to push on up here, this sort of plan to take breaks here was sort of invalidated, or it wasn't gonna happen. So what I done was I just basically waited, and we pushed up and we closed above Asian range. We then closed back inside Asian range, right? So looking at this on the 15-minute, looking at this on the 1 hour chart, it looks like a big 1 hour rejection. And looking at the like the hourly structure, we sort of have a little mid-range here, like a little pause in the market before we break down, which is of course 30-minute support breakdown. We have pulled back into that resistance, closed above outside, and then we've closed back inside. So the 4 hour at the time was basically bullish, right? However, the previous two 4 hours are bearish. So when we have a resistance formed, we're selling in line with the session bias and in anticipation of this continuing down, which is then going to make the 4 hour flip bearish and maybe close bearish. But it's going to look like one hell of rejection work to the upside. And if we just go based on 4 hour structure, the most recent support and resistance is here on the 4 hour, and this candle is our breakout candle. So as this candle breaks out and closes, it just looks like a pullback on the 4 hour to the most recent support and then rejection of that. So we're sort of seeing, what I'm liking is, or the breakout candles are getting pullbacks and retesting. We're then testing Asian high, closing back inside the range, and when we close back inside, we have a clear target. Asian low is the target, and this is just within the community, people know the playbook setups and stuff. So this was just, basically one of those. However, it was just slightly different in terms of, well, it's not different. It's more of where are we in the higher time frame? Where are we in the market position? And this worked out, but it could have easily been one of those ones which didn't work out because of where we are on the 4 hour, on the daily higher time frame reaction areas, failure to break down. Basically, overall, where price is ranging, so it's not really an attractive area to be, looking to trade. And I'm not the best range trader. I'm actually quite shit at range trading. But in terms of following a session bias, waiting for a target, having a resistance close back in the range in line with the session bias, I actually got involved in a sell. And when the next candle opened, it sort of pushed up a little bit. And I didn't enter on the close. I was just having a look to see, because what I was paying attention to was this mid-range resistance. the fact that price had formed a support, we have pushed down, we've broke out, and then we've broken back above, and we've pulled down, respected this on the lower time frame, and then we've got to push up. So I know that on the way down, this area could very much be an area for price to react and go this way, because we have, in the short term, changed structure on the lower time frames within here. So I know that that area is a reaction area, and because that area is a reaction area, that was my target. So I had an entry here, stop above here, and I targeted the resistance. And this got me a, oh, I just switched charts there. Let me just go back to GJ. And if I just come back on the replay tool to here. So if I just bring on my trade from today, this was basically my trade here. Give me one sec. Yeah, let me just close those instead of deleting them. So this was basically my trade, and the next 30-minute candle sort of pushed up as it started to break down. I was targeting here, so I just got roughly over a 0.5. Price did go on to hit the target, which would have been Asian low, but based on where we were in the market, this is a trade I just wanted to be in and out. You know, I didn't want to be sitting in the trade, because there's every chance that this area here acts as an area of reaction and rejection based on where we are and the sort of levels we're coming into. So I didn't want to be hanging into this trade. I just wanted to be, you know, out of this. So that was the trade breakdown. Simple on the 30-minute. But yeah. So I'll get this uploaded.